welcome to my YouTube TV show. Today we're talking with my friend Kisha Estelo from upstate New York. I met Kisha back maybe in, what do you think it was, like 2014 maybe? 2013?
It might have been more 14, 15, because I was out here
Yeah.
before I started climbing.
Yeah.
About like more 15-ish, but yeah.
Yeah. And we met because our boyfriends were dating, or wait, we were dating our
Basically.
boyfriends. They were friends. They were basically dating. And so we became friends. That was like a Freudian slip, I think. Um, so we became friends, and we're no longer dating those people, but we're still friends. So that was the best thing to come out of that.
Yes.
And Keisha is a massage therapist, and I'm going to let her tell you all about her. So tell us a little bit about who you are, Keisha.
Hey guys, I'm Kisha Obbs. I live in Albany and I am a massage therapist and have been so for 7, 8 years, not including school. That was 2. I've recently just jumped into the journey of craniosacral therapy and it's been very rewarding. I know, Lauren, you've been talking about, building your intuition and really getting in tune with yourself. And that's a huge part of not only body work itself, for most
Mhm.
but also in craniosacral therapy itself. You really much have to be in tune with the person that you're with. You leave your ego at the door and you bring just presence with you,
Wow.
the body, what its needs are, and you base your therapy off of that. Also avid outdoors person. Haven't been for a little while just because life, we always make that excuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love nature, super grounding for me. I love my people, my family, my friends, myself, my cat who's
And
hanging out in the window.
you're an entrepreneur.
Yes. Yep. I own my own business called Relief and Relaxation Massage Therapy with my business partner, Kathy. We've been open for almost 5 years, so it'll be 5 years in July, technically.
I cannot believe I remember going to your opening party, and I was just like, I just remember thinking it was the coolest thing because, like, I've wanted to be an entrepreneur for so long, and I was just like, wow, like, I can't believe she took this step and, like, actually did it and had to, like, get a place and pay rent and get a business loan. And I was just so, and I'm still always impressed by you, but I was just always like, that is the coolest thing.
It was so cool. It's very empowering to really like leap into something that is really scary. Like getting a business loan, having that collateral, like they could take my car, they could take all these other things that I have just to like pay back the loan if we couldn't pay it back, you know? Scary, but I mean, financial scaries are all right. They're more superficial, but
Yeah.
it was definitely a big step, and I'm very, very thankful for it. And we've paid off our loan. It's
Yes.
super awesome.
So how did you, and yeah, how did you get the courage to like, for me, I feel like putting yourself out there and building your own business is like leaping off like a cliff. Like that's
Basically.
like, how did you get the courage to do that?
Having a business partner helped a lot.
Yeah.
Business partner is, God, how much older is she than me? I would say at least 12 years. So
Hmm.
a lot of experience just in the working world. Like she's managed a couple big healthcare offices, so she knew a lot about administrative stuff. Um, but it was nice having her there. But just having faith in myself, saying, I actually can do this. There are so many people who have made it work, and you can. So just go for it. And we did. Once we found a place, that was it. Like it took us a long time to find the building that we were going to be in. But once we found it, the rest took care of itself. It was amazing. It's kind of like an intuitive thing. Once you have that aha moment, like that's it. You just go for it.
Yeah. And I was talking about this with my friend Bertuni earlier about traveling and like how did you get, you know, to do that, like travel around the world. She's like, I just bought my first plane ticket and then everything else like figured itself out. So I feel like sometimes it's just taking that one really big step and you have to like psych yourself up so much to do it. And then once you do it, you're like, all right, well, here I go. It's like you're at the going up on a roller coaster and you're
Yes.
like inching to the top. And then all of a sudden you go over that little lip and then you're like, woo! Put your hands in the air and enjoy it because there's nothing else to do.
Yes, exactly. You just gotta trust it. Trust is a huge part of intuition too.
Mm,
Especially with craniosacral, more so now.
yeah.
That goes with everything. That goes with my business, the choices that I make in everyday life, the choice to be with who I'm with right now as a life partner. It took a lot of courage to do a lot of these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that. So, okay, so I'm also super intrigued by Keisha, and I asked her to come on and talk about this because I've been really interested in sexuality lately, and I've been diving into a little bit. And Keisha is a huge like expander for me in this because when I met Keisha, she was dating a man, and now she's dating a woman. So
Yeah.
I asked her, she's like, "Yeah." So I'm so interested in sexuality and all the ins and outs of it. And so, again, I'm also interested in like people that are really courageous. Um, so yeah, I asked Keisha to come on and just share like the process of how she kind of realized that she wanted to be with this person and how she made that transition from dating men to dating a woman. So, if you want to speak to that a little bit, Keisha.
Totes. So, dating men was never bad for me. Like, I have met and dated a lot of really interesting people, or even had fun, like little one night stands with. Like, you learn a lot about yourself and a lot about other people when it comes to your sexuality and who you're with and just having fun with. Um, I had one interesting experience, right before dating Julie. That's my partner's name. Um, and it just really hit me hard. I was like, you know what? I don't know if I even want to be dating right now. I can't do this.
What was that? Was that like a dating experience? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I was traveling to Boston for someone, just mostly for fun, but I was actively looking for a partner in my life at this point. And this person it just didn't feel right. I felt very judged, manipulated, controlled. And I was just like, you know what? I don't want that in a partner. And I drove away knowing that I was never going back. And I thought to myself in the car, because it was, I don't know, a 2 hour drive, more than that. What do I want in a partner? What do I need in my life when it comes to love? And I immediately thought of a very good friend of mine who had been my friend for 3, 4 years by this point. And it was Julie. It's like, I want a love like Julie has. I want to be able to give love to somebody that's willing to give that type of love to me. And I knew that she was at an interesting turning point in her love life too. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like hint to her and see what's up. Like, this was a scary experience for me too. Like, this was an aha moment for me. I was like, all right, I really got to think about this because you can't just jump into it. You really got to ask yourself, is this what I need? Sometimes we have to sit with that for a minute and say, is this what I want? Is this what I desire? Will this be okay with me years to come? Because obviously I'm looking for a partner, right? All of the answers are yes. I'm like, you know what? I can do this. My family will be okay with this. My friends will be okay with this. And if
Yeah.
they're, I don't give a good flying fuck because I love this person.
Yeah. So how did you, when you, like, what was your process of when you sat with that, when you were like, you kind of had this aha moment, and then you're like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I need to sit with this, and kind of, what did that process look like?
Oh God, messy, scattered. Um, it tends to be in this brain or mind or whatever you want to call it. I sat with all the questions like society, most of society doesn't see this as a good thing. You know, being with a same sex or like same gender relationship. A lot of society doesn't see that as a good thing.
Hmm.
So it is hard for us to, and usually we do not express our love in public. And I had to be okay with that. That was the hardest thing. Um, what is my family and friends going to think? I really had to think about this, but then I was like, it really doesn't matter. If it feels good to me, then I have to go for it.
Yeah.
All those questions are scattered throughout your brain through this whole process. Like, am I actually attracted to this person? Is this really the right thing? And it was always yes. And that deeper part, it was always yes. So I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to ask her questions and subtly hint and see what she thinks. And eventually it came to be.
So how long did you think about this before you started hinting?
Oh, God. I don't even know. I'd say a few weeks at least.
Okay. Did you just like meditate
Because,
on it or what?
what's that?
Were you like meditating on this? Like,
Occasionally, yeah. I mean, a lot of times just sitting with myself. Obviously, meditation is just sitting with yourself, but I wasn't actively going into like a meditative state.
hmm.
Sitting, thinking, feeling what was being around her feeling like now, what was getting emails feeling like now. And it was always like that butterfly rush feeling, like, oh, wow, that wow butterfly feeling. So noticing how it felt in my body was like the meditative experience, like sitting with that feeling, thinking about that feeling.
Wow. Okay, so you started dropping hints. Then what
Started
happened?
dropping hints, and she was like, what? And because she had always sent like these beautiful like emails and all of these like she did this tattoo for me, like all of this like adoring stuff, and she had confessed to me, I've loved you for years, like, are you serious right now? Like, I never expected this. She was married to a woman for a number of years, so she's always been out, but she was like, I just really didn't see this coming. It's like, I don't know what to tell you, but it's something that's coming up and I can't ignore it. So we both kind of, eased into it, took care of our lives, took care of each other, and eventually we got to where we have an apartment together and a cat and friends.
Wow. So, okay, so what type of like hints did you drop? Like I need
So
to know more about this, like how you guys got into this.
she would bring me lunch a lot to work, just as like friends. And
So she clearly like liked you.
oh, yes. I was just like, oh, she's like a really nice friend. Aw. But she was being a really nice friend. Her intentions were friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the time, she was going through a very rough time in her marriage. Like they couples therapy had a meeting where they were ending things, and I was like, how are things with your partner? Like, are you guys working it out in therapy, or are you like, more leaning towards the, is this just not for us thing? And just as a friend asking her questions to see where that was going, and it seemed to be like they were coming out of that marriage, and I felt happy for her, but at the same time, kind of bummed that that must be really hard. But I was like, yay for me. um, but eventually, my hints and my questions were, and I can't remember them specifically. They might be in emails somewhere buried, but um, she finally caught on and was just like, "Are you flirting with me? Like, is this really happening?" And eventually, I was just like, "Yes, can we talk about this?" So eventually, we did, and we worked it out. We took it slow and did that.
So when she realized you were no longer like hinting, or she picked up on the hints, I guess is a better way to say it. Um, like, so when you had this first conversation, were you like, let's talk about this? Did you have an in-person conversation? How did that
Yes.
go? Like, did you kiss after? Like, what happened?
So it was definitely an in-person conversation. I said,
And were you scared?
yeah, yes. Yeah,
I'd be losing my shit.
yes and no. Like that, I guess human part of me was like, oh, like that butterflies feeling, but there was that deeper, this is where you're supposed to be part that was like solid and grounded and ready to say this out loud. The sexuality part of it was scary to me. I'd never really been with a woman before, and I obviously know how to work the parts, right? But at the same time, I had never been with another woman. And I was like, I just need to know how that's going to feel for me. That's one of the parts that was missing. And obviously, like committing my life to another woman. Um, so she stood up and we kissed, and it was amazing. And it was grounding. It was an experience that solidified it all the more. And then, we kind of eased into the sexual part, like the deeper parts, but
Wait, that day?
definitely enjoy it.
Wait, did you kiss that day and then you guys had sex that day?
No, nope.
Oh,
So that didn't come till probably, pun intended. Um,
I don't know why that took me so long.
that didn't come till a couple months later because she moved out of her place. She was still like living in the guest bedroom at that point in the house that she was in. I don't know specific timelines, but that came a little while later. And I'm thankful for that. I like taking it.
Yeah. Also, your description of your kiss was amazing.
It was grounding. It felt like a first kiss. You know what I mean? Like nervous and like, am I doing this right? It was
Yeah.
because, just like fooling around with people, you don't really think about that.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't had that. I mean, it's kind of nerve-wracking, you're nervous, you're excited, but I like that you said grounding.
Mhm.
Like it just seems like you had that realization of, okay, this is right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing type of
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. And I was in the moment too. I was feeling everything around me. I remember how it felt. I remember her lips. I remember her breasts like on me, like that whole moment, like my arms touching her back and her hips is just very much in the moment. And sometimes we aren't. And a lot of times, I'm not when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, that was definitely in the moment.
That's amazing. And I feel like I find with sex, and not that that was sex, but just anything is so much better when you are in the moment. Because I think I get so caught up. Like I have this internal dialogue running in my mind, most of the time. If I'm having sex with someone, and it's mostly just, okay, am I doing this right? Like, do I look okay? That type of thing. And then when I stop and just enjoy it, it's 1,000 times better.
Yes, absolutely. And also a note about that, like having internal dialogue, like, am I doing this right? I mean, looks, that's something to work on, with our inner selves, right?
Hmm.
Therapists. But when it comes to, am I doing this right? I know this has been a challenge for me to actually verbalize that, say it out loud. Like, is this what you like? Is this, you want it different?
Hmm.
You do it, like actually verbalizing it out loud and actually, one, prioritizing your orgasm, but also your partners too. Like you're in this together, having fun, you know.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, speaking of orgasms, do you find that you have like how is the sex different? Like, do you find you have more orgasms? Like, or is it just different? Or how is that?
It's different and it's not. Like orgasms are just great. I love all orgasms.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm able to have more with Julie for sure. We both know how to work each other differently and feel each other and know the verbal and physical cues that we're giving each other. Um, and she's able to have multiple orgasms too, which is pretty awesome. So
That's
I like
amazing.
that part. What's that?
I said that's amazing.
Oh God, yeah, it is amazing. I mean, with my past, I've definitely had orgasms with other partners, and it's been great. But it's just a better experience with that deeper love that I have with her, and love coming. So.
Yeah, love coming. I love that. And so do you feel like that is the reason why you're having better sex? Is it because you're very much in love, you're very much in this like healthy, good relationship that you feel like you're having way better sex, way more orgasms?
Yes, definitely. Having that connection, and I think a lot of people can speak for that when you have that connection
Mm-hmm.
with someone, that deeper part is makes it easier to be comfortable with all the different things that you like during your experience and what they like during your experience.
Mm-hmm. And oh, go on. What were you gonna say?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Do you like miss a penis, for example? For example, like there's other parts.
Not really. Like I've played with the idea of possibly doing like the whole strap-on thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I absolutely love oral and I have for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers are great because
Yeah.
I feel like they can get to that G spot a little easier. They know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
That that's a hard question, I guess. I
Yeah. I just,
guess it's a yes and no, but more no.
right. Yeah, so what do you find is different about having sex with a woman versus like having sex with a man?
I feel like I'm able to prioritize me in bed a little bit more. You know,
Really?
not feeling bad about it, not feeling overpowered, which
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. That was more of an inner me thing, right?
Right, right.
But I think that one comes with your inner work, and two, I was older. I was doing my inner work. And once I started doing that, I started having more orgasms with my partners and prioritizing myself.
Mm,
I feel more comfortable with this person,
mm.
not with other people, but yeah, maybe I got off track, but
No, I love that, and I think that's so true. A lot of sex sometimes is even when you're with another person, it's still with yourself.
Mhm.
And I totally see that like with my sex life. Like I met this guy in Peru I knew I wasn't gonna see him ever again. He's from Israel. And we had great sex, and because I was like, I'm gonna think about myself during this because I don't, and like I prioritize my orgasm, and it was it was great. And I was like, well, this never happens because usually, because I was like, well, fuck it, I'm never gonna see him again. And it was great. And then, you know,
Yes.
and I'm like, well, why can't I do that all the time? Because it's like, usually I care more. I'm a very like caring person. I'm such a people pleaser and I care a lot, really. And like I care a lot about someone else feeling good. And I do that at neglect to myself.
I
Um,
feel you.
yeah. So I think that's really interesting. And it does sound like because you've done that inner work that you've been able to prioritize yourself more.
Yes. And it's not a selfish thing, right? It's not like I am being overpowering my partner. Like, I absolutely make sure that they are pleased too.
Hmm.
I want to be pleased too.
Hmm.
This is a figure eight here. Like, I want to be making sure that we're both having fun.
Okay, wait. Pause. I love figure eight because a lot of people say two-way street, but I love figure eight because it keeps going around and around.
Yes. My therapist actually kind of introduced that to me a little bit. She's like, she always kind of mentions here and there during our sessions, like, it's a figure eight right now. Do you feel that? Like, we're giving and taking from and to each other. And I was like, yes, that's perfect. Like, I never thought of it as figure eight. And that's how I see a lot of my relationships now.
Wow.
It's awesome.
I love that. Okay, wait, what were you saying before the figure eight thing? Are we talking about sex?
We were. Um,
Just both of you like making sure you feel good, making sure she feels
oh,
good.
yeah, like a give and take. Like, it's not a selfish thing, it's a figure eight, you know? And that's the case with the people I'd been with right before her. You know, I was just feeling that part of me. Like, I am supposed to feel good during this. It's not just about my partner, it's about me too. And it's challenging to remember that sometimes because, you know, I'm a massage therapist. I take care of people. Before that, I took care of my family, my friends, and it was everybody else first. And
Right.
point out, like, yo, dude, like, you gotta take care of you too. So that's what kind of came into my sex life too.
Wow. So how did you start prioritizing yourself more?
In general, like in life.
Yeah, because I think it sounds like kind of when you start doing that in your life, it naturally transitioned into your sex life as well.
Mm. Doing things that I wanted to do for sure, like visiting you in Nashville. Would have never done that if I was just like, I thought to myself, dude, why the hell not? You're allowed to do this. So I did. I went to Nashville, visited you, and had a great time. Um, Meditating, Albany. It was probably 2 years before I really got into that kind of spiritual meditative yoga world, you know. I started working with a guy who did integrative energy therapy, and it basically is just very light touch on very specific parts of the body. And you can have like emotional releases, see things, like all this stuff. And it was very intriguing to me. So I dove in head first. I was like, I need to know more about this stuff. So I do research online, read books, ask people questions, ask him questions, you know, get his viewpoint, meditate myself. And I started hearing things. I started seeing things, feeling things. Um, like my sleep got better. I prioritize my sleep. I eat well. That's when I started to eat better and like go to locally sourced, you know, grocery stores, like Honest Weight Food Co-op here in Albany. Shout out.
We'll tag them.
But yeah, just a lot of the combination of things like getting massages, you know, adjustments, acupuncture, here and there, you know, just taking care of yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit. it all became very important to me. And obviously, I still have those challenging moments where I do prioritize people still, but I have to take a step back and realize that I am doing it. And having a partner that knows me sometimes better than I know myself is very helpful too. She notices it and she's like, yo, what are you doing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that's so much, like doing all of those things. That's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's like, it was over a span of, God, how long have I been out here? Probably 5 years or more that I was doing those things,
Yeah.
hanging out with people that I actually felt good around. That was a big part of it too. You know, instead of forcing relationships to happen, I was just like, how am I doing that? Why am I forcing friendship with you? You suck. Not
Yeah.
really, but you know, energy suck. Like I just felt like sludge was like taking over my body. Where with some people, it was more like, this is fun. Like this is
Right.
energizing. I like this. So I was actually choosing friendships too, and relationships for me. It's weird.
Wow. You did really like a complete overhaul.
Yeah. Over a span of years though, it wasn't like all at once. Like obviously the body work kind of just came into my life easier because I was in a career where I could do that. I trade with people all the time. Sometimes pay for therapy if people aren't willing to trade, but more or less people are.
That's awesome. That energy, the integrative energy thing sounds really cool.
It's fascinating. It's based off of angels, which was interesting to me, and it was hard to get into because of that.
Right.
All of those, you know, mind inhibitors, if you will,
Hmm.
the therapy kind of took a whole different route and started to expand. Um, but yeah, it's based on angels, but at the same time, it's based on where the therapist is feeling the most energy and how does it feel? Does it feel hot, cold, buzzy, sludgy? Like they base it off of what they're feeling too, which is interesting. And that's kind of like what craniosacral therapy is.
Yeah.
Your
So is
therapy
there a name for that?
for what?
That energy work that you were getting, the integrative energy work, or is that just someone who's a healer that takes everything that they have learned and puts it?
It's called integrative energy therapy.
Oh, that's just what it's called. Okay.
I don't know how popular it is. I had learned about it just because an acupuncturist that I know was dating this person, and we would see him a lot coming into the chiropractic office.
Yeah.
He just started talking about it one day to me, and we'd have these awesome conversations about, Buddhism, Hinduism, all these different religions kind of interconnected with each other and
Mhm.
meant to him. And the stuff that he's learned not only in himself but outside himself too, and it was just fascinating to me. So eventually I just jumped into the IET stuff and
Wow.
jumped into everything else.
Wow. You
Yeah,
went on quite a journey.
definitely, but I'm 100% thankful and grateful for it. That's another thing too. Gratitude is huge, and I actually learned that from my partner Julie. She taught me that big time. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for it.
Do you have a gratitude practice, or is it just something you kind of integrate in your life?
I think it's just something that I integrate mostly.
Yeah.
Well, I occasionally catch myself thinking about something that I love in my life, and I'm like, I'm really, really grateful for that. I'm grateful for the money that I earn, that I'm able to pay my bills with love. I'm grateful for my apartment, that I have a safe place to live. I'm grateful for my partner with love and surrounds both of us with love, and I am able to do so because she is able to do so. Just all these things.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
I love it. Um, so how long have you been with Julie now?
It will be 2 years, July 4th is what we, technically have our day because we love fireworks and they're exciting and to us. So we just,
Aww. Well, that's super exciting. So,
It,
how are you feeling? I guess like, yeah, how are you just feeling in this relationship? And
really good. It's challenging.
yeah, how is it different than dating a man?
Well, again, like not being able to express my love in public just by holding her hand. Or
Yeah, wait, talk about what's up with that.
so, and I talked with my therapist about this too, and I said, it's been challenging for me because I can't like hold her hand in public or kiss her at a restaurant or, just kind of lay my head on her shoulder because she feels unsafe because she's had experience before with this, with hate coming from outside. And
Really?
she,
So when she's been in public expressing PDA or being with another woman, she's experienced hate.
she might has, she might, bless you,
Aw.
my cat's sneezing.
Aw.
Um, I feel like she has, but she's also experienced a lot of very traumatic experiences in her life. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Um, but her safety means a lot to her, and so does mine, obviously. But I would rather avoid those situations and be able to express my love when we both feel safe. And sometimes we can do that, walking around in a park, we can hold hands, or, when there's no one really around that looks at us weird, we can just kind of hold hands and walk down the street. Like our neighborhood's pretty good with it, but sometimes we have to stop and then we'll resume holding hands, after that person passes us. You just kind of, it's like you got to weigh your options when it comes to safety.
Wow. And that's kind of shocking to me being because you live in New York. I mean, obviously not New York City, it's still upstate New York, but Albany, it just that's something I didn't even think about because I'm very PDA. Like
I
my love language is please touch me all the time.
love touch also, yes.
Yeah, and so I didn't even think about that side of things, and that's
Me
just
either.
so sad that people can't express that and don't feel safe to express that.
Hmm. It is. It's something that I had to let go of, and it was one of the hardest things at first for me in
Yeah.
a relationship. But once I let it go and held love with her in that space, even though I couldn't touch her, was enough in that moment. Because then when we get home, we can just be like, I love you. But another challenging thing is like, okay, so we all come with our baggage, right? You never know what it's going to be. And my partner has PTSD, and that was an extremely challenging part, with her PTSD flare ups that happen very occasionally. Like, but when they do happen, we have to acknowledge that they are and let her have the space that she needs to be able to get through that moment or those moments. So that's challenging too. Just partners in general, man, woman, both, whatever they consider themselves,
Right.
come with their past. And I am okay with it. I know how to manage myself during those moments and not take it personally and be able to give her the space to be able to work through that terror feeling that she gets or having to be alone because she's scared or when she jumps when I go to touch her because she's having a flare up.
Oh, no, that's so sad and scary.
But it's also like, I guess, mind opening, like her inner child goes to that very scary place. That's where her inner child kind of lives right now. And we have to soothe that part of her saying, it's okay, you're actually safe in this moment right now. Bring her back to the moment because it's easy for her to snap right out of it, like go into that PTSD, like, I have to go. I'm feeling scared, jumpy. Like it is a flick of the wrist. It's immediate. But coming up with ways to, not fight it, but get past it and help it and nourish it in a better way rather than like pushing it away and saying it's a bad thing, because it's not. It's just something that we're working on together.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you're working on it together too.
And she's never, unfortunately, felt safe to work on that in her relationships. She obviously does her own work. Like, this is 100% about her inner work, but to be able to do that inner work, that person has to feel safe in their home, in
Right.
relationship, and be able to know that their partner is going to be okay if they have to be in a dark room for hours or whatever it may be.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is kind of unrelated, but this is something I really a personal issue that I struggle with in relationships. And I always like to observe how couples do this. And what that is how do you like work on yourself while also working on the relationship? And this kind of ties into that, but like how do you strive towards your personal goals and independence and keep your independence while also doing things together and maybe having goals like as a couple?
Hmm. It's a very interesting question because
I know there's a lot there.
everyday life kind of comes with that challenge if you think about it, especially in quarantine. We're both in the same area every day, which
Oh my
is
God.
not a bad thing. It is
Yeah.
not a bad thing. Um, but we absolutely love spending time with each other, which is a blessing and should be the case in a relationship. Um, for instance, if I feel like doing one thing and she feels like doing another, we have to be okay with that. And that's something that she struggles with a lot. I'm just like, this is both of our space. You know, we can do whatever we want. Um, for instance, last night, I didn't really feel like doing much of anything because I was mad tired, like all day. And we were just kind of like looking at houses, like what would be our dream house, you know? And we were just like looking through houses like up in Keene, down in the Catskills, just like for fun, you know? We were laughing about all like the pictures in the house. And then, you know, we took a break from that. And she's like, what do you feel like doing? I was like, I don't know, like just watching something because I don't really feel like doing anything. And she was like, well, I feel like I need to just like get stuff done or whatever. And she got a little bit upset about it. And I was like, okay, hold on, wait, hold the phone. I'm listening to you right now. I'm present in the moment with you, and I'm just going to listen and hear you. And being mindful and intentional about the things that you need in the moment are very important. So I heard her and what her needs were. And what she wanted to do in that moment was play video games. I was like, great, play video games. I'll be here with you. And we just sat on the couch and I watched her and we laughed about what was happening in her world in the video game. And we were just chilling together. But she was able to do what she needed to do. And so was I. You know, I was able to do nothing and just like watch and chill. And she was able to get some quests done. And that was pretty awesome. So when it comes to bigger life goals, we definitely give each other the space individually to be able to reach those. She's big into art. You know, she actually has an online presence now on Instagram and Etsy. She's doing some zines, is what they're called. They're like little magazines of all of her art that she does. And she's been working really hard on that. And it's been awesome to see that like just set fire in her again.
That's
She
great.
supports me with my body work, my cranio. She absolutely loves it. She loves body work. It's helped her immensely, not only with her PTSD, but with her migraines and just her life in general and well-being. So that's been cool to get that support from each other for our individual goals. And we definitely, you know, manifest the future with each other. You know, we want an awesome house in the woods and with our kitty and surrounded by people that we love. You know, we definitely have those goals together too. So it's important to support each other.
Yeah. So how do you like take time for yourself, especially during quarantine. And this can really be anything, but especially living with another partner. Like, how do you meet your own needs while also, like, just how do you keep your independence, essentially?
I have a lot of things I just like to do on my own, right? Like reading a few different books right now on certain things. One's the about inner stillness, which is very helpful for the craniosacral stuff.
Mm,
And the others are pretty similar to that. I exercise. We either go for runs together or separately, or go for walks together or separately. Um, I do an online gym called Zuzka Light, and it's amazing. She has different workouts for every day of the week, and I love spending time with myself doing that, meditating, stretching, doing my own body work, um, chilling with the cat, looking out the window at the birds.
bird watching.
Bird watching, man, it's very fascinating. No wonder cats are so interesting. Just watch birds all day. Um, but yeah, just doing things separately but together sometimes is fun. Like we don't really, I don't know, we don't set rules, but we make it clear when we want to spend time with each other. That's really important. Like I miss you. Like let's do something together. Or I'm gonna do my online gym thing upstairs. Let me know if you need me.
Mm. Communication.
Yes, it's something that we work on a lot. It's definitely one of the biggest challenges I think for any partnership.
You think?
Yes, yes. If people, I definitely have a hard time communicating. Sometimes I get a little off track when I'm talking. Um, so it's something that I do work on actively every day, especially with my life partner, because it's easy to get lost in your thoughts and what you're talking about.
And sometimes it's hard to be clear about what you're thinking, number one, and then number two, how you're communicating it.
Yes, definitely. Which is why last night I actually took a step back. I made the intention to say, I am listening actively right now in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that I did. I wasn't thinking in that moment. I was just soaking it in. And it was really fascinating in that moment to like communicate clearly, like, I am listening.
Wow.
Do it. Intention is key too, for sure. Intention and communication.
Had you ever done that before, that listening thing, or was that your first? I mean, obviously you listen, but had you ever done that, like, I'm here with you, I'm listening to you, I want you to know this?
I don't think I really had the deep intention of actually listening. Like, obviously, I listen to people, right? Like, I listen to my partner.
Right.
It was on a deeper level at that moment, and it was really cool to feel that because I was actually understanding her and feeling what she was feeling in that moment. Like, we were connected on a different level, and it was awesome to feel.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's powerful.
A lot of this kind of stuff is, man. Like, it's empowering, right? Like that's what we're doing, empowering ourselves, empowering women, empowering humanity. And it's really important to start with us first because once you feel it, you're like, oh, I want other people to experience this.
Yeah.
And here we are, we're talking about it in an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like you've learned most from, I don't know, just like from your life at this point? I feel like, I really look up to you because you've taken so many risks and you've done so much of your inner work. And that is a journey. That is a real journey.
More
So
to come, too.
I know that's what I think about. I'm like, damn, I've done so much work on myself, but there's so much more to do. And I'm like, is it's never going to be over, is it? I'm like, this is a lifelong thing. Like, that's why you have a life, right? So you can like figure not you're never going to really figure it out, but kind of. Like,
I mean, yeah, you're probably never going to figure it all out, but learning your lessons and understanding them is really important. And the inner work is really important. You're going to find things that just keep popping up. Like you're going to feel uncomfortable for whatever reason during some sort of situation. You got to ask yourself why. Or like, why do I feel drained at the end of my day? What didn't I do to fill my cup?
mm,
Many things. Like, what do I want in a partner? What do I need today? The list is endless, but it all boils down to listening to your inner truth
mm.
and intention and communication.
Listen to your inner truth, have a good intention, communicate.
Mm-hmm. And the list goes on. Like I could tell you so many things that I've learned up until this point and felt and understood and more so understand on a deeper level, but it, you'll figure it out day by day, let's say.
Dude, I am figuring stuff out all the time. And kind of something I have figured out for myself is because like I love self-development stuff. I always read self-development books. That's like the section I go to in the store. I always try to go to different section, but I always end up in the personal development section. And what I've kind of realized is lately I've been like, I don't have to think about this all the time. Like sometimes I can just chill and watch Netflix like a normal person, and I don't have to be like over analyzing myself every second of the day.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
it's good to
every day
just
doesn't have to be like a growth day?
well, that could be part of the growth too, right?
Right.
Chill and watch Netflix if that's what you're feeling. Go ahead, do it. Absolutely. That's part of it. Not expecting all of these things from yourself every single day because that can be draining too.
Hmm. Hmm.
You want to empty it, you want to fill it up. And if that's Netflix or your favorite show or just watching the birds with your cat, go ahead.
I love that. That's such like an old person like thing. Like I remember like my babysitter always used to do that. Like just watch out the window, checking out the birds.
Hey, you can learn a lot.
They're doing some things out there. I don't really know what, but they're loud and they're chirping.
Yeah, they are. Flying around, being birds. Just being is really important. I was talking to my therapist about this, and I was like, should I be worried that I'm not really missing work? So I was like, does that mean like I'm not meant for this? And like all those thoughts
Yeah.
started to
Is
freak
it
out.
still my passion? Like,
Right. Like, is my passion dwindling? And she's like, actually, I think it's just because that you actually feel comfortable just being. That's what I'm feeling. And I was like, yes, thank you. That's exactly what it is. And that's what was vibing with me in that moment too. Just to be. Do what you want to do in the moment at that day. You don't have any responsibility really, except paying your bills, which I can, thank God, because of unemployment. Um, but yeah, whatever it is in the moment, just go for it.
that's good.
Means that you're nervous about making a very large decision, go for it if it feels right. Or if it's like, do I wear this shirt or that shirt? Go for the one that feels better.
Yeah.
One that you think makes you look fat or whatever.
Hmm. Yep. It's all about the feels.
Definitely. That's another thing I learned from my therapist. She's like, how does it feel in your body? Not here. How does it feel here? Like, fuck yes, Diane. Like, how do you know these things? You're a genius.
Diane.
She is my jam, dude. Love her.
I love my therapist too. She's taught me so much. I talk about her all the time. I think I'm gonna stop recording, but is there any place like do you want I can put your Instagram handle on the video when I edit it if you want people to follow you? Or is there any closing messages that you would want to share?
Just trust yourselves, guys. Like, that is the hardest thing that you will ever do. And
Mm,
it's really silly to say that out loud, I guess, and to really think about it when you are, but once you start doing that, you're going to find that trusting and loving on deeper levels in your life, in all aspects, you will start to reap the benefits of life because you're seeing, like, being grateful, loving deeply, truly, trusting yourself. It's really, really, really important. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. I'm not entirely active. I
yeah.
don't ton. Um, you totally can if you want, and I don't know. I was thinking about posting more eventually, so maybe I'll get back to it.
Yeah, or maybe someone watches this and they have a question about something that we talked about and they just want to DM you.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Absolutely. I'm an open book.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop recording. Yeah.